Hey everybody, it's free to play bust with expedition number 179. Let's take a look. Interesting set. That's quite an Elise if I've ever seen one. It's probably what we're going to be taking here. I immediately get drawn to Misfortune, but these cards are all just terrible. And I do actually prefer the Moonlit Heist Misfortune. That's the one that's paired up with Targon, just because all of the Diana cards just play extremely well with Misfortune. So do the Solaris too. Just so much good stuff out of Targon that you prefer to have that guaranteed Targon pick in Pack 2 as opposed to starting off with the chance at Demacia. Then here, this Fiora's fine. She feels is about as tier 3 as it gets. You can get some really impressive Fiora decks together. You can very easily take it to 7 wins, but most likely it's going to just be something that turns into a 4 or 5 winner, or if the spells don't come together with the prismatic barriers and the ripostes, then you might just drop down to 2 or 3. But here we're going to be taking this Elise. The two things I like to do with Elise, we can either go with the typical spiders deck. This is all it was before, looking for the Arachnoid Horrors and then the 3-drop that gives everything -1 attack, and then the Brood Awakenings. Or what I'm more interested in now is pairing her up with Targon and going the fearsomes route. Just looking at the curve of whatever fearsome dog is called, and then the Arachnoid Horror and Elise at 2, the -1 attack thing at 3, and then just being an ultra aggressive deck. But either way, both of those pan out extremely well with Neverglade Collector. Still, in my opinion, just the best card that exists in Shadow Isles. And then even after all of that, if we decide not to build around Elise, she's still just an excellent 2-drop champion. The Collector is good in every deck. The Horror is good in every deck. And so even if we pivot away from trying to build around Elise, these are still a fantastic set of cards. So let's take a moment. I'll get this pulled up on the website, and we'll take a little bit of a closer look at it. Okay, and if you're not familiar, it's ftpbus.com. I have finished up the set review for the Monuments of Power. Also got the text version, the image version, and the YouTube version of the tier list out for patch 112, however you like to take a look at that. But here we're going to be over in the Expedition Helper. We're just going to scroll down to Elise, and it'll pull up all of the cards in this card pool. And so yeah, it's a pretty straightforward set of cards. The big things that we're looking to do here is there's the very clearly the spiders theme with Elise. Where you're going to be looking to have this curve with Arachnoid Horror, Hapless Aristocrat, and then kind of just topping out with Brood Awakening. Then the other way we like to go about this is with the Stygian Onlookers. And so what I used to recommend was that in Pack 2, it doesn't matter what champions show up, you just take the Noxus champion, because that way you could get the other half of the spiders cards. Like if you want to get Precious Pet, the Fearsome Spider, or if you want to get House Spider, Stun Spider, the 5/3 that gives all your spiders +2 attack, you'll find those through wild picks and such. You just have to be a Noxus, and so I would always recommend that you take the Noxus champion. But now it's not as important that they put Stygian Onlooker in here. I am okay with just drafting Targon with these. I still do prefer to be in Noxus, but it's a little bit more open than it used to be, where we used to just say you have to take the Noxus pack. We have some more options. But with this, I do try to keep our curve super low. The top end that we're looking for here is Neverglade Collector. We really want to be kind of staying away from Scuttlegeists, staying away from Overgrown Snapvine. Just these 5 and 6 cost cards are too expensive. We're just kind of a Neverglade Collector or bust. We are looking for 2 to 3 Brood Awakenings. Regardless of which deck that we end up in, this is still a pretty fantastic card. And 6 cost spell doesn't quite feel as expensive as a 5 or 6 cost unit, and so we're usually pretty willing to stack Brood Awakenings and Neverglade Collectors, but that doesn't leave much room for any more top end. And then the last thing to call out specifically about this pool is there's no real there's no real removal in it. There's a Vile Feast, and that's it. And so we're gonna have to find vengeances or black spears through wild picks, or we're going to have to pair this up with another set of cards that has removal in it. Otherwise, we're just slamming units into our opponent's units and hoping for the best. But we're taking this Elise, and let's see. interesting with the arena. I'm trying to think what I think of this, because it's a kind of interesting pairing. Like, I always love this this Elise plus Darius. It's a very I shouldn't say it's a very popular combination and constructed now. It used to be a very popular combination, but I am pretty interested in having a run with the arena. It just it feels like it should be pretty powerful in Expedition, even if like our strongest ally is just like the 3/2 fearsome spider. If it's attacking a 1/1 or trading, we're probably okay with either of them. We're going to be the aggressor in these matches, and so whatever we can do to keep our opponent's board empty should be pretty good. And so I believe I'm going to take this Darius. With these other packs, the Hecarim is okay. I don't really like Haunted Relic in this style of deck, but having a big bruiser of an Overwhelm to close out games is pretty good. Shadows and Dust also has the Harrowing in it, and so there's pretty reasonable sets of cards in Shadows and Dust. I just don't really like drafting it unless it's paired up with Zed. There's a lot of ephemeral themes within Shadows and Dust, and if you don't have Zed, it's kind of hard to pull those off. I don't think this the Hecarim built around is that good anymore. Used to be an ultra powerful deck to just to play Hecarims over and over again. You could use like the Rekindler and then the Ionia cards that copy units in your hand and whatever to just play a Hecarim every turn of the game. Don't think that's a very valid strategy anymore. And then down here, the Braum is okay. Not really excited about pairing Freylord up with Elise ever since they took away the whatever it's called that gives a specific unit type +2/+2. That kind of stuff used to live in Ancient Evil. You could look for the thing that gives +2/+2. You could put it on a Spiderling, so all your Spiderlings become 3/3s. And it also had access to the Overrun card, the thing that gives your team +2/+2 and Overwhelm, but they kind of took those cards away from Freylord, and so I don't think it pairs up particularly well with Elise. And so, yeah, as we kind of mentioned earlier, taking the Noxus pack is always very powerful with Elise. Just throughout the run, we might be able to pick up a Precious Pet or pick up a House Spider or something. Those Arachnophilia Noxus packs should be showing up. Darius is a great champion to help close out these games, and then very interested in trying out the arena here. So we're going to take Blood on the Ice. Let me take a moment and go ahead and get this one pulled up. I don't think we're ever going to be switching out of Elise for this specific card pool. The thing with Blood on the Ice is it's supposed to be centered on the arena. The idea is that you're going to be using Ash to make Frostbites, the important unit being Rhymetusk Shaman to just Frostbite your opponent's strongest unit, and then the arena is here to make your strongest ally now do combat with your opponent's frostbitten unit. And so you're really trying to pair this up with Freylord so you get access to all of those frostbites. So I don't really see it happening here. There are some pretty exciting cards in this card pool between Elixir of Wrath and Kato the Arm. And so even if we just pick up a handful of these smaller units, maybe we pick up one of these expensive things like Tusk Raider and then use this to fill in the removal that we're missing with things like Whirling Death and Calling Strike. I think that'll be fine. We're pretty happy to just be building around Elise and just using this Darius as a support pool. You could technically, if you see a Freylord card in like pick 3 or pick 4 that has a Harsh Winds in it, you could consider pivoting, but I don't think it's quite worth it. I would really prefer, if we're going to go that route, I would prefer to take the Blood on the Ice pack in the first pick and then filling in the other slot in the second pack. I don't really like this spot where we're in Shadow Isles, Noxus, and then trying to find Freylord later. So here we're going to be taking this Darius, and then we'll see what follows up. Okay, exactly what we're looking for here. Doesn't necessarily push us towards the either the whether we're in the spiders or the fearsomes. Precious Pet is spectacular. Brothers Bond is always great in these as well. It basically ends up with you winning a combat and then getting in an extra 2 additional damage. So pretty powerful set. The Saboteur is fine, but we don't want these Trifarians. And then again, we're gonna pass on these Freylord cards. If this was like Rhymetusk Shaman Harsh Winds, then we could consider jumping in, but that's a little risky. So let's just go ahead and stick with the good high quality cards here. Okay, and these cards are pretty trashy. We certainly don't want either of these ephemeral cards. I'm going to just shoot for the Iron Ballista. It's the best aggressive card out of our options here. These Crimson Awakeners are pretty dangerous when you're playing spiders, since they tend to just kill all of your own units. And so the Ballista is the best of these 4 cards, and then this is at least a little bit of interaction to get a run with. Okay, interesting set. I'm not quite ready to just jump in on this Arachnoid Host Decisive Maneuvers. These are both cards that we want. We just don't really want to be taking these 2 expensive cards. Like in a future pack, if we're able to say take like Whirling Death Decisive Maneuvers, then fine. If we could take Arachnoid Host plus Legion Saboteur, fine. These just aren't 2 cards that we want to be taking together. They're too expensive, and they're easy enough to find that it's not a huge deal to pick up. We will get something like Decisive Maneuvers. This does tend to be the best one, being between Decisive Maneuvers and Shunpo and it's not the Reckoning, the Intimidating Roar. We'll get one of those cards, doesn't matter which one, and so we're not going to go out of our way to find this one here. I just want these 2 cheap cards. Legion Saboteur is great in this style of deck, and then we probably won't find great combos with this Arena Bookie, but even just whenever it starts to be good, if we look at this as like a 5 or a 6 drop, cycling away our cheap cards for more expensive cards is always fine. Okay, interesting set. I'm going to take the Glory Seeker pack. I'm interested in Black Spear, but the Scribe of Sorrows is pretty weak here. There's a whole lot of times that this just puts a spider in your hand, and it's just not quite worth it. We don't want either of these Piltover cards. We don't want to see Piltover for the rest of the run. So we're catching some interaction and then just a giant overwhelmed dude to help close out the games. All around, pretty great set. Okay. All right, well, I think we're going to take the Sentry and the Noxan Fervor. It's a spider and then a good interactive burn spell. We typically have a lot of spiders that we can just sacrifice and not super worry about this Noxan Fervor. We would like to pick up a Noxan Guillotine throughout the run, but Vision, it's fine, but we aren't looking quite like a go wide deck at this stage. We'll want to be there, but our curve is getting a bit high. We can't really take advantage of this Vision just yet. Excuse me, Elixir of Wrath is great, but I don't want this Shield Breaker. Our curve is getting expensive enough as it is already between Darius and Tusk Raider, and then we'll want to take any Neverglade Collector that we find. Like, our curve is pretty expensive at this point, and I'd really like to avoid picking up these expensive cards. Okay. Interesting. I think we want the 2 removals down here. Crumble is another great removal spell. We tend to have to be kind of careful with it in these decks. It's kind of easy to pick off a unit for 1 damage, but this ability is just incredibly powerful to be picking up. I think if Death's Hand was a little bit stronger, then we would take the Roar and the Death's Hand, but getting a little bit of card advantage and a guaranteed kill removal spell is pretty important. We just need to find some cheap drops. They apparently don't want to show up, but that's what we're really looking for here. And with this set, I usually want to be going for crowd favorites, but I think we need to take the Sentry. We need to just get like some synergies in our deck. We haven't seen any Arachnoid Horrors. We haven't seen any Brood Awakenings. We have to have just like some spiders that we can have on the board to try to get our Elise flipped. And then at our top end, we do already have Tusk Raider Darius. So crowd favorite, we kind of have a lot of these big bruiser overwhelms already taken care of. Okay, just aren't showing up today. just no spiders. So here, I think we want the Glory Seeker with this bad spider. We're certainly not taking these 5-cost cards. I am kind of interested in this card advantage set down here. Man, maybe this is what we should be taking. Just to have a bit of it. Like, I'm a big fan of the Stalking Shadows in this kind of deck. Glimpse Beyond being okay. We haven't hit anything in the early game. I think we can let these go though. Let's just pick up the quality units. Ugh. Okay. Well, we're going to take a precious pet here. I don't want Draven's biggest fan, although you know, the Ballista is a great unit. If we're going to be taking a precious pet, though, I want the Trifari, and the Blade's Edge is just too bad of a spell. The only time I ever really want Blade's Edge is if we're playing a deck that has plunders in it. So if we're playing like either a Sejuani deck, where Sejuani Gangplank both level up off the damage to our opponents, or if we have a plunder deck with like Black Market Merchant and Pilfered Goods, then fine. But if this is just as a removal spell in your deck, it's not good enough. Okay, alright, there's the Stalking Shadows that we want. We get a Stalking Shadows with a Black Spear. It's a fantastic pickup here. Otherwise, these cards, we have, you know, been passing up on some Whirling Deaths, but I think our removal is good enough at this point, especially now that we're picking up Black Spear. And so this is a pretty good spot. If we can just fill in some of this early game that we're missing, I think we'll be doing pretty good. I'm kind of interested in Scorched Earth. It's a Noxan Guillotine that you can't replay. We don't need Three Brothers Bonds is kind of the problem, but I think the Vile Feast Scorched Earth will be okay. We're pretty well set with our 3 drops as it is. Okay, we could almost take Basilisk Rider. This is a pretty bad set of cards. I think we want the Crawling Sensations. These are all pretty weak. I don't think this is a deck where we ever need the Rekindler. He's fine, but we already have enough top end here. So I think we can ignore that. The Ravenous Butcher is just garbage here. Basilisk Rider is fine, and we'll hit it, you know, like 2 out of 3 times with this deck, but it's a little iffy. I think we can just take the Crawling Sensation Glimpse. Okay. Our friend Legion Rearguard. You're going to be good again one day, friend. One day you'll stop being trash. But I think we can skip all of these. The Glinthorn is just not a good epic. It's fine. If we didn't have... If our top end was just, say, like Darius, and we didn't have the Shieldbreaker Tusk Raider, then I'd be okay to pick this up. But I don't want to trade out a 2-drop for this pretty mediocre epic. Crawling Sensations is just going to be better than Legion Rearguard. Rearguard's only good in support decks. And then Vile Feast is more important than the Sentry. We already have 3 Sentries, I believe. Yes, so we can go ahead and skip all of these trades. Okay, so I mean, none of the decks I wanted to put together actually came together here. We're certainly going to need some trade picks and a bit of luck to turn this into a 7 winner, but we'll see what we can do. It's just we saw 0 of the dogs, we saw 0 Arachnoid Horrors, we saw 0 Brood Awakenings. It's just we saw like a lot of the Noxus half of these decks, but then we didn't even see House Spider. So it was kind of a rough run of it. Okay, here we're not going to keep any of this. We're gonna I wouldn't say necessarily hard mulligan for Elise in this deck, but we need some kind of early game, be it some 1-drops or a real 2-drop. If we're having one of these draws where we don't play any cards until turn 3, we're just never going to win.
Where are you? No.
Sure. It's Tomkinch Callista. We have real issues running into Blighted Caretakers here. Right, this is what we call a problem. needed a 2-drop real bad right here. Sure. That's not helping. Not helping whatsoever, friend. We can technically like Nox and Fervor this away and then Glimpse Beyond. Okay, we're gonna Nox and Fervor this away, but adding back in, you know, Crawling Sensations doesn't feel spectacular. So let's prevent the point of damage. kill off this Callista and then get a crawling sensations down. Okay, I mean, it's a dude at least. Something to do. Not a good something, but it's something here. Yeah, let's play pretty well with the arena if we draw it. This isn't a this isn't a too exciting board to be running arena into though. Just slamming it down on this guy's pile of 1-drops. But let's get him in. I want to glimpse beyond. I expected this to be down 1. If you like flipped these around, this would have been perfect for us.
You'll go no farther.
There we go. You're just gonna eat this damage? Okay. Interesting. Okie dokie.
So pretty.
Sure. This is not a board for the Trifarian Glory Seeker. That's for certain. Okay. I mean, we're gonna have to like Death's Hand Unspeakable Horror here, but at least I mean this isn't any like real amount of damage.
Come this way.
Probably just not even gonna hook the Trifarian. That's what I'd imagine happens here. Yeah. Alright, let's prevent damage. Prevent 1. And at least our life total's still kind of healthy. I think we can make this work. We're clawing back in this after that terrible start that we had.
That
Sure.
egg, did it move?
We want to get Big Boy online here. You can have some troublesome removals, but it's okay. The only like thing I don't like about adding Tusk Rider here is if he has another like a chance to just go wide here. Like if he has a 6-unit board and open attacks on us next turn, there's a good chance that we can just die. So it would have been probably a little bit safer to just add Elise, Onlooker, and Glory Seeker, especially now that he adds Dawn Speakers. But this felt like it was going to get us in a spot to where we could just kill him on the next turn. We're just going to have to let this pass. He's gonna. Okay. Now that that's on board, I'm gonna get units in.
Noxus!
Like I was willing to let the turn go with him without him giving his units, you know, giant bonuses. But this is just too much board to let Dawn Speakers do its thing on.
Contain magic. Be strong. These are dark times.
He's going to get another bonus here, but I think that's okay. We need to see how cute he gets as to whether or not he opens or not.
Years at sea hunting this foul creature.
Okay.
To arms!
He comes in with this? Okay, okay. Pretty willing to just sacrifice board here, but I mean this is going to be a big brothers bond. We can do this. Yeah, we're just going to have to trade out elephant. I'm pretty okay with that. This is a pretty sick brothers bond, keeping our narwhal up, making him lose down speakers. It feels like that was kind of a spewy turn.
Do not forget.
Come closer.
We'll add Elise. I'm not going to put the Glory Seeker on the board unless he adds another unit.
Charge!
Pretty reasonable. I bet he blocks with Spiderling and lets his Black Spear something. I'm pretty tempted to just Scorched Earth Spiderling if this blocks down here. I don't know if we'll ever get the opportunity to play a better one. Like, we already have these two Glory Seekers in our hand. We can just deal with whatever combat we want. So I mean, it's not exciting to be Scorched Earthing a token, but it kind of is what it is, I guess. Right, he's just gonna trade him in combat. Man, see if I can. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Let me see if I can hold through this.
Sacrifice for a greater cause.
Got it. Does this last breath? No. Let's add. Just go ahead and add blocker. We have enough mana to do all this stuff. We can kill all his units and just have a huge open next turn. This is kind of frightening if he has a withering whale, but that's our only real problem here.
You dare!
Okay, we'll just clear it all out. I think actually we'll hold on to this Glory Seeker. Like, we can't, if he has Withering Whale, then we're in a pretty, we're still going to be ahead of him. But this way, we still beat Vile Feast this way. I'm okay with that.
Noxus!
Hush now.
Right, if he gains 1, we're still going to hit him for 9. Or, nope, that's only 8. That's real close. The way this guy's played, I feel like he would have probably spewed it out already if he had a Withering Whale. Okay.
Remember me.
So maybe we should just add the Glory Seeker. That's pretty close.
Some of us are
All right,
only
when this new pack comes up, we're just going to take the Elise pack. There's not a real big decision here. We're going to have 3 Elises in our deck. Just hopefully she has some cards we're really missing here. Okay, all right. Not real jazzed about like picking up the spells. I'd like to have like 8 or 9 spells and not 12. If you have 12 spells in this kind of deck, you want it to be because you have like, one or 2 Crawling Sensations and 3 Brood Awakenings, not just this like mishmash of actual spells that we have here. These are a good set down here. I'd love to pick up this Draven set, but Elise is just too important. Right. That's what you got to say whenever you click off those little X's. You just go boop. We got Teemo. Okay. Alright, that's a little bit better. If we had an Elise, I would keep the Stalking Shadows, or if we had an Arachnoid Horror, I would keep it as well. But without either of those, we have to go dig, and great start. He can pop us with a Teemo on the first turn, but we can take care of it after that.
Another day in the field.
I'm gonna do this slow so that we get the Nightfall off the Horror. There's no reason to play Saboteur on this turn.
I have my orders.
Sure. We could have arguably played an Elise here and not gone for this Unspeakable Horror play. What we tend to see with these Teemos is even like the first flipped hit doesn't really matter. It tends to be the second flipped hit that's the important one to stop. But we don't have like an ultra aggressive build here, and so I don't really want to be getting into a race against a Teemo deck.
Prepared for anything.
Okay, well, we got the answer to this one as well.
I'll scout ahead.
It's a lot easier for him to answer this Glory Seeker.
Officer J.S. Harknor, Unit 6.
I know what lurks in the shadows.
Be sending Teemo to the arena. But let's go ahead and get this Glory Seeker online. I'd like to see him spend some mana before we start investing in this. I would love to see him play like a bigger unit, and then us. Actually, let's do it like this. I don't think we're going to need to deal with this Teemo, but I do want, if I want to attack with this Elise, I need to hook the Investigator. He has something, right? He's got like a Vile Feast or some kind of trick here. Or, I guess maybe he doesn't have Twin Disciplines here. Be real surprised if he doesn't add a card, because now we can hook in the Investigator and get a free Elise attack in. Okay.
For glory. You're mine.
We could use a bite.
Interesting. Just do nothing? Just actual do nothing? No way. Okay, sure. That's a fantastic play for us. Just having him add absolutely nothing to the board and get our Elise flipped. Just super stoked to see that happen.
Let me change into something more comfortable.
Can't exactly add the arena to this board. We do have this big boy that we can add so that we can get this down next turn.
Heard there was a little fella asking for me.
There's no reason to blank his attacks here. I think actually let's play Stun Spider. I think I like this. This doesn't really get us out of the spot to where we ever want to play arena, though. I think this is okay. I just want to take these good hooks all over his board. Sure. Very good for us.
Been a fun guy.
We're pretty free to add. Okay. Okay. I guess board was about to get murdered. So yeah, not the best arena. I mean, I didn't really want to have our Elise getting into combat with a random 3-attack dude, but anyways, okay. Let's see. I'm tempted to pick up Brood Awakening. The arena bookie's just like not super good in our deck, but it is a nice ability to have. You know, when it's like turn 6 and we still have a Legion Saboteur in our hand because we have a full board, and just be able to swap it out. But I do like the Brood Awakening. I haven't been real stoked with how the Scorched Earth's been panning out. So I would be okay with getting rid of it, but Rude Awakening just feels a little bit more important given how our deck has come together. I think we want to pick this up. Man, Tom Kench was only at 49% win rate. Oh boy. Pretty good about Tom Kench in Expedition. He's generating removal spells every turn, but it seems to take a while for these win rates to push up. If you noticed, I'm like talking about the win rates over here on the right. They tend to go high, well above 50% on everything, because my theory on it is that's just a reasonable start across the board. I just feel like, you know, for the most part, the people that take the time to download a deck tracker are people that are going to be a little bit more experienced. They're actually going to, you know, care about improving and having a good record on the old Expedition run, and so you just have better players in general. This can be an awkward horror. But it's just, we just stone nothing. I was trying to determine if I ever want to just open there. I don't think so. If you know, we're willing to just trade Arachnoid Horror for whatever, and I think it's pretty okay to just pass. Awkward hand. We gotta find some interaction, or find some more units. We just have too much interaction here. I think we have to just go ahead and dome this thing. We're one mana short of pulling this play off. Gross, not happy about this.
Protect them.
We could have. The other option there is to make like a Brothers Bond play into it, to where we just attack with both units, assume he blocks our 3/2, and then we get a good Brothers Bond. But that's rough. Okay, we can't pass Collector. It's super awkward here, but we just can't let these go.
We protect these woods as they protect us.
Okay, well, the units are starting to show up at least.
Stay
Sure.
hidden. I know what lurks in the shadows.
We ever want to just try and pop this twice? Probably. That's a pretty good open next turn. Like, assuming this comes in. Ooh.
Let me lead.
This we can answer a Twin Disciplines next turn. Or do we want to give this? This just feels like a Twin Disciplines, right? What if we try to pop this twice and then try to get a trade here? I like this. So he's gonna win one of these, and that's okay. But this is gonna at least it should end with him having one unit and us having 2 units. Oh, sick, 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 sick. Oh, that is like the absolute perfect spell for him that just shuts down this entire play that we were making.
All make sacrifices.
Gross. Gross. Okay.
You'll thank me later.
then he just follows up with the 1-cost cards after we drop our units in. Gross. Okay. We just gotta slow this one down and try to ground it out. I don't see a reason to attack with this Elise anymore. There we go. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about here. Oh god, are we just dead to this? 8 plus 8, 16, and then we can block in the middle. So he needs 2 damage out of... He has to have like 2 Radiant Strikes here. I think this is okay. We can Brood Awakening and just block. 1 mana short of doing cool stuff. 6-3. Okay. Or do we... Do we ever want to just decisive maneuver this and then have actual blocks with our units? I don't think so.
Go ahead. Play with your food.
I don't know. I don't like this. Oh, he has something. Okay.
He smells something.
Sure. Okay.
By a thread.
Okay, alright, good. We got a way to get rid of some of these spells. Picking up Neverglade Collector is a fantastic way to be doing it. So perfect. Perfect. Yeah, we could have done that one a little differently. I mean, I guess with that turn with the... where we could have actually waited on the Twin Disciplines. Like, I guess we should have accepted that if... well, it would have just protected our 2 spells. I think we have to keep both of our 2-drops. Okay. This... Sea Monsters Elise? Sure. You got it. Okay. Alright, these look like the kind of draws that we're used to seeing out of these decks. Sure.
Fresh is worth at least twice as much.
I pull the strings.
Yes. We could have shut down this attack. He's gonna hook. We could have Vile Feasted this first and then he wouldn't have attacked. But this is okay. He can't interact his way out of this.
A tribute to the spider god.
And we're gonna open on him. Want to get these spiders. We're in a pretty good spot to just to bank the 3 spell mana here. Or actually, we can, if he's gonna block, we can play our unit, then have the Brood Awakening on his turn. Sure. Okay, well, if you're not adding units, I'm banking everything.
What does he want from me?
I think. Let's actually play this. We'll just block if he attacks, and then our Elise is going to flip, and then I want to have this 4 attack challenger in case we need it.
Smooth as silk.
I do just worry about getting hit by a like a withering whale. Make it rain's not as frightening. He's gonna boom our Elise. Okay, well, nothing we can do about that.
I'll take him dead or near enough.
We'll just go on the collector plan if he's gonna do mean things to our Elise. Should have a pretty tough time dealing with 2 of these. Changed his mind. Gonna play some Yibin Warrant. Appears as though he did not like seeing Neverglade Collector come down. Gotta decide quick, man. This isn't good for you if you let your time expire.
I know what
Okay.
lurks in the
Sure.
shadows.
Really gonna attack with your Elise?
We could use a bite.
Okay. That seems suspect to me. Like if he's in a spot to where he's just gonna be adding like one big dude a turn, then that's pretty good for us. So let's do this. We're going to switch over to the Trifari and a double Precious Pet. If he plays something that can interact with these, then we just, we won't attack with them. But I think this is pretty reasonable. And we're also, pretty close to just turning them into 3 attackers. Sure. Longclaw doesn't seem too exciting here. Why would he Longclaw Precious Pet? Why wouldn't he try to Longclaw Neverglade Collector?
I'll burn for what I've done.
Sure.
Noxus!
Please, I have connections!
Is this just the plan to just hook this next turn? That seems like that's a plan, I guess. Okay. Got him to non. Hopefully the collectors can do their thing from this point forward. Sure. Okay. I wasn't planning on doing it this way, but if that's what it takes to protect our collector, then so be it. It's also pretty good open for next turn.
The dead don't need riches.
Okay, we can't block with the collector. If he has a black spear and takes us down, it's not very good. Not very good for us. You can catch a plunder here, which makes me think maybe we should block with the Precious Pet. They can't have combat tricks. This combination doesn't have them. Okay. I mean, we're in the spot we can collect our sentry next turn, which should be pretty close to closing it out. I don't know what this guy's doing. Why he hasn't added anything to the board, unless his hand is just super awkward here. He has to be deploying something. Okay. And Darius. He just doesn't feel like like the play. I think we want to just be playing Sentry Brood Awakening, just being much wider than this guy. We have time to get this Darius rolling if this this line goes wrong. Now he has to add like so much to the board to deal with these spiderlings. It just seems like pretty easy to deal with Darius, right? Say he plays a scrap shot, and we can't win this turn. But it takes a lot of things going right to deal with Brood Awakening when he hasn't, you know, indicated that he has the tools to deal with a bunch of 1 health units.
Echoes from the deep.
Good game print.
Down the river. Do you hear the call?
I hear the call. Here we are. Good game. That get us? Was that win 2 or 3? Number 3. All right, let's take this Elise. A third Neverglade collector. It's been so long since I've seen 3. Not excited to pick up more spells, but you know, we have to take Elise, have to take collector. So I mean, our deck's fine. I would love to. The things I would like to see with this run is I want to get rid of the shield bearer, but that's fairly like low priority, and then I want to just get rid of some of this like these spells. We just have way too many spells. I'm cool with kind of like 1 glimpse or 1 stalking shadows. I'm kind of cool with like, you know, Vile's Feast kind of being a unit, but I would love to see these things like Black Spear, Nox and Fervor, Crumble, like the style of card traded out for some lower cost cards. Like 1 Brother's Bond would be fine. Just too much spells, especially now that we're picking up another Guillotine. Okay, all right, we're getting there. I was just thinking, it was like the hell, get out of here thing. This arena does not seem good in this deck. It's been decided. Slap it up on Darius. It'd be sweet if it count as like attacking. So when Darius, you know, slams into their 1 health unit, you overwhelm for 9, but not the way it is. We get a game. What's going on here? There we are. The old Lee Sin, the first one of the run. I'm surprised we haven't seen a whole lot of the. I guess I think this is technically our second Lee Sin. Was it our second or third one? Remember? Anywho, here the Tefarian can be a reasonable keep since we're on the odd attack token. Perhaps we will keep it here and get rid of Stun Spider. I kind of like the idea of Stun Spider against Lee Sin, but we shouldn't need to be starting with it early, and we have 3 copies of it. So hopefully he'll make an appearance before we need it. We spiked a 1 drop. That's the way the professionals do it.
This'll shake him.
Okay, well, I mean, we have a reasonable set of tools to shut this Lee Sin down. Pretty stoked about that. I guess the unfortunate thing you have to watch ourselves with Lee Sin is that, you know, they can't just like double gem or gem twin disciplines, you know, gem key guardian, however they want to do it. It's not unreasonable for them to be able to open attack after playing 2 burst spells. But we're getting these attacks in.
Carve a path.
There's an argument to be dropping Iron Ballista here, but if
We swim
oh friend. Oh friend. Oh, he's got barrier. Oh, I guess we need to do this then.
Boom.
Yeah, I still want to get in. Like, if we don't attack with both, then he can just block the Trifarian.
Strike, we will reform.
Pretty okay with just getting this big chunk damage in.
Currents, pull them down.
Kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't for this guy.
What form will the waters take?
Okay, this is looking pretty good. We're lining up the spot to where we just drop a decisive maneuvers on him on our next turn and probably have the kill. See what he does. This is a probable Arachnoid Sentry here. I don't want him playing like Elise and then just challenging down one of our actual units. There is a world where he just passes, right? Let's at least keep him from picking up the spell. And then what's the most damage we can get in with the decisive maneuvers next turn? We can get in for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 with the ping.
Hardened scales.
I think we want to go for that and then just drop an Everglade Collector on his next turn, right? If we can get him down to like 2, that's pretty good.
Noxus!
Behind ya.
I think that should be okay. I mean, if it comes down to it, we can just play Everglade Collector on our next turn.
Stand firm.
This is lethal if he doesn't do anything else. Can Will of Ionia. Cost of Palm. Okay. Let's keep him from drawing this spell here. I don't care about losing the Saboteur, I think. Do we just want to get unit off board? We probably just want to get unit off board, right? So we'll drop him to 6 or to 5. This can take him to 4. Then we'll have a collector next attack. Seems reasonable.
What form will the waters take?
Seems reasonable. Do have to watch yourselves. I mean, there are ways for them to just gain big chunks of life, like if he plays a star shaping or whatever, but I still think we're in a pretty reasonable spot.
Master.
How bad is this if he just sends it back to us? Let's play our least important units first. You have to imagine he's going to get some kind of hook in here.
Our enemies cannot hide.
I've been waiting for this.
Strike. Center your spirit. Prepare yourself.
Two-minute collector.
With purpose.
If he wants to win this combat, this doesn't feel like a good attack. We should be blocking here. Sure, definitely blocking here.
Conflict is all in the mind.
Well, that does give us another unit for our Neverglade. Just take it.
Damn it!
I think this is okay. I mean, he has ways around this. He can like Will of Ionia, the collector back to our hand. He's going to have an opportunity to play a unit next turn.
Another day in paradise.
I guess the big pain point here would be if he has a barrier lifesteal. That's going to be the most common one that he drops on us. Okay.
Conflict is all in the mind.
Okay, let's... I guess we need to do a little to big here.
Off we go.
Probably need to get the collector in as well.
Don't test me.
Uh-oh. He likes something that's happening here.
You cannot win. Act free of doubt.
Barrier lifesteal. Takes him up to 8. We can... it's not good
I
enough.
see every move. Their heartbeats quicken. You cannot win. Act free of doubt.
See how many different places we can move it here. This is why we wanted to have this down here. It was I initially thought we should put the ballista way out on the left to try to get the overwhelms in, but then if he blocks it with Lee Sin down here, that's pretty bad for us.
I will not hold back.
One, he's tapped out. Okay, perfect. Oh no, friend. Good game.
You see, but you cannot grasp.
All right, what can we pick up here? The host is reasonable. Also, the Glory Seeker is reasonable. This isn't like a super upgrade, and that you know they're kind of the similar things, right? This is just kind of a awkward removal spell. But you know what we used to find was that a lot of times this will just come at one point in the run. I used to say, whenever Nox and Might was in its prom, was that you're gonna drop a Glory Seeker and just blast your opponent in the face for 5-on-2. And you're going to win that game. But it would happen like once a run. You just get a free win with the Glory Seeker. Could still be the case. I would prefer to just have any other unit than Scorched Earth. And that's what I think we're going to take. We have, a bit of the spider theme, but I like to have a bigger chunk of spiders before I'm at an Arachnoid host. So I think it's just more of an upgrade to pick up this Glory Seeker. Right. Rom and Nocturne, sure. They don't seem like two guys that want to play together. They don't seem like a friendly pairing. Nonetheless, let's get to all this. We're looking for 1s and 2s here. Specifically looking for Elise. We found her. Oh. Thought I was about to get a teammate for the first time in the run today. There we go. Come on, bud. And sure. And it's pretty likely that if we want to add a unit to the board, it's just going to get run into by a 3-drop. But I mean, we have a second Elise with a Brother's Bond. I think I'm okay with this. Yeah. Like these one-cost units are surprisingly high value here. Has to be readily apparent that Brothers Bond's about to happen. Still pretty reasonable curve. I mean, getting to add Glory Seeker Elise this turn and have a big open next turn seems pretty reasonable. Both of his attacks suck. Pretty happy with his board state here. That one? That's suspect. But I mean, I think we would rather him like spend mana on a combat trick here, right? If he has like even Fury of the North is bad, I'm pretty okay for this. Like, we're gonna get a 2-for-1 out of it. If he plays like the +2/+2 Shadow Isles thing, I'm okay with it. Porous Neck's fine. Porous Neck's like the worst possible option. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's still fine.
I pull the strings.
Sure. Then, as it stands, I don't think we need to open anymore. We can add Glory Seeker. Love seeing him just spend that Unspeakable Horror right before we add Glory Seeker. And we should be good to get Shieldbreaker down. We can just interact with everything he has pretty favorably. Like, we're kind of beyond the stage of this Elise being good as it is. Oh, nice. Just trying to roll the dice here. 3 mana cycle. Absolutely. Pretty cool with that. Dude's about to get blasted. Okay. Well, it's not ideal, but we're blasting.
You're mine.
Oh, I really want to get this 8 to 9 damage in here. If he wants to trade his onlooker for our little spider, we're pretty okay with that. And this is such a good spot for us, because if he says, you know, plays like a 6-drop and we crumble it, just pretty good for us. The only way I see this going south is if he has like a second Poro Snacks and he's able to block up on all of our fearsomes. Okay, let's not crumble. Let's add to the board. We're gonna have a pretty big open next turn. Well, maybe that was poor choice. I don't think we can get too greedy here because there's too many combat tricks that just make this go wrong. Oh, okay. I was like, I certainly don't get what's happening here. Okay.
No one will remember you.
Love getting these blockers off board. Let's add an Overwhelm. He has to block everything now. Nocturne is the only thing that can block Shieldbreaker. Like, I feel like we're gonna get snacked here. Like, this is gonna be a Poro Snacks quite frequently, but his blocks still just aren't good. Okay. Maybe there were no snacks to be had.
Was all it took.
That's what happens. The teammate shows up. Start getting 2-for-1s on your opponent. Double the brain power. Okay. Well, I think I want to trade the Glimpse Beyond for the Brood Awakening. I don't feel like Noxkraya Arena is going to be real hype in this deck, but I don't want 4 Neverglade Collectors. 3 is a pretty good number. As you can see from like a few games ago, 2 of them get kind of awkward, right? Well, I guess if you're living the dream and the one just survives forever, it's not very frequent that you want to add both of them to the board. It happens, but it's just not very frequent. And I think we kind of want the additional utility we get out of the arena. And here, I don't want to pick up a second guillotine, and so I do want more units. Units are what we've been searching high and low for, so I think we're good to swap out Glimpse Beyond for the Brood Awakening. You gotta get these stray hairs off the kitty cat before he starts headbutting me and they end up in my mouth. That's what people expect out of these YouTube videos, right? It's not so much about having a good time and learning about Runeterra and stuff. Just see this dude get cat hair in his mouth. See what the fart doctor thinks about it. What a sweet match. Yeah, this is going better than expected. Okay, I don't think we can hang on to the arena. Tom Kent, God, I mean, if there's ever a matchup where it's good, it seems like it's this one, right? If we're able to just like nug all of their like little 1 health units, let's keep it and see what happens. Let's get rid of the Sentry and the Glory Seeker. Look for more 1s and 2s. There's a good chance keeping this arena is just a poor choice. I don't really like keeping 5-drops, but you know, I wanna try it. We've only drawn it once. I wanna play it before this runs over. Real good with these, you know, you just strike their smallest unit with your 5 attack 1 health guy. All right, and with this one, I'm going to open. Well, hang on, that doesn't work out exactly how I want. I was going to say I'm just going to open because he's just gonna.
You won't suffer.
I want to play this after and get the dude, but he can just block our 1/1 with Tayari. So didn't quite work out as planned.
The Star
Sure.
Child herself. I'm starting my journey.
Trust
Star
the
Child
stars
herself.
to guide you, Tiari.
She can't even block anything.
The stars rejoice to see you, Soraka.
And I.
All right,
am.
let's Stalking Shadows. If we hit a spider, then we can flip our Elise. Pretty good spider to hit. Let's go ahead and pop Soraka. If we pop Soraka, it should keep him from attacking with Tayari. I think I like this.
Ah, such pretty poison. Live with purpose.
I think this is fine. We can just deal with her again next turn. Right, we can stun something and then Glory Seeker down. We can stun Soraka, then Glory Seeker his Stargazer. This all seems pretty good to me.
Smooth as silk.
I mean, probably just don't even. We just let these be and just hit with fearsomes, right? We're just gonna fearsome through his board.
In service to the Imperial.
Daylight
All
everlasting.
right, good game.
Victory requires a sharp blade.
Good game, friend.
For glory, face me!
All right, so we didn't get to play the arena. We thought about it. It just didn't happen. I can't. We probably should have just traded it out of our deck, but you got to try these cards, right? You never know if they're good or not if you never play it. For the most part. For the most part, I should say. Some of them we can look at and know they're just good. Some just look like trash, but I think it's a fine card. We just haven't picked up a good deck for it. Okay, so crowd favorite's a reasonable dude. Unspeakable Horror is one of the cards I prefer to not be getting rid of, though. It's just some good interaction that eventually turns into a dude. The crowd favorite's such a top-notch unit. I think we're going to be okay picking this up. I would also be okay to switch out Black Spear for Guillotine, since we do have this other pseudo-guillotine. Did we trade that out? I can't remember. We did trade out that thing. Whatever it's called. It's not Crumble, it's 3 cost. Similar thing. I guess we traded it out. Okay, anyways, let's pick up the crowd favorite. Get just a few more units in here. Okay, I'm not quite willing to pick up the rear guard. Stalking Shadows I don't really want either. I am cool with this Skitterer, though. It's more on point with what we're doing. Plays just excellently with our early game. I think that's a reasonable trade. Okay, excellent. Let's trade out the Shield Breaker for a 2-drop. Works for me. Okay. it's gotta go. We gotta get rid of this arena. That's unfortunate, but I think that's the way this goes. We can just pick up a crowd favorite. We've reasonably pushed our curve down. Where I mean, if we had more 1-drops, we only have 3. If we had like 6 1-drops, then we can really count on this hitting on turn 4 and being big. But it's okay on turn 6. Okay. Well, if we want to upgrade to the other landmark, I don't think this is particularly good. My thing with this is like if like looking at our curve, we have 1 4-drop, we have all of these Neverglade collectors, and then 1 6. And so if we ever draw Tusk Raider, then it just eats our Neverglade collectors. If we ever, draw our crowd favorite, then it just eats our 3-drops. And it's just like, we can't use this. I think this card is just exceptionally bad in Expedition. I'm sure that there's something reasonable you can do with this in Constructed. It's not exactly like Birthing Pod and Magic, but if you're familiar with like Birthing Pod and Magic, you know how like these incremental advantages can be good. Like Birthing Pod, there was a point in time when, it wasn't just a combo deck and it wasn't just, a big value deck that has a bunch of silver bullets in it. Like there were times when it was just like a value oriented, kind of like upgrade my last breath unit into something else. And so there's a place for that in Constructed, just not in Expedition. So here I'm going to drop the Trifarian for the Saboteur. We're pretty good on 3-drops as it is, and this is a pretty low value 3 to be having, where the 1-drops are just ultra important here. Okay, we don't want Draven's Biggest Fan, don't want any more Brothers Bonds. The Skitterer for the Guillotine, I could go for. How much removal do we have if we get away from the Guillotine? Let's see, we've got 2 Brothers Bonds. Okay, we've got 1 Vile Feast, 1 Black Spear, 1 Nox and Fervor, 1 Crumble. Kind of like getting rid of it. The big thing I'm looking at is we have 1 Crumble, so we have our kind of 1 do anything spell, and then we have like 4 just kind of incidental spells between Vile Feast, Black Spear, Nox and Fervor. I guess it'll be 3 if we get rid of our Guillotine. But we can consider decisive maneuvers in that pool as well. I think that's okay. Let's pick up Skitterer. Like that, it's one of these things I talk about on occasion to where, you're going into round 7. It's going to be like the most high variance game in the run against like what should be the strongest deck in the run. And like we really want our deck to be putting together these curves of like Precious Pet, Elise, into Frenzied Skitterer, and just like maximizing our chances of just having the nut draw. Maybe I'm wrong on that kind of decision making, but that's how I usually feel about these. Okay, final battle. It's a quick one. No poor robots today. I think. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe. It's always frightening when the game freaks out right at the very end. Alright, this is what scares me. We can keep the Saboteur, try to curve. If he has the Leona curve, we're just gonna lose. There's a 0% chance spiders can beat the Solari Soldier, Solari Shield Bearer opener. It's just, we'll try, but it's just, we're trying to play 2/1s and they play a 3/3, and then we're trying to play a 3/2 fearsome and they play a 3/6. Like, what are you supposed to do? But we'll see how it goes. Interesting. Let's at least go with the damage play here.
No one's the wiser.
I think we're okay to trade. Like if we had an Elise, I think we'd want to start with Precious Pet. But
They'll never
if
see it coming.
without having the Elise, I think we want to try to push in the extra damage. This combination doesn't have a whole lot of good 1-drops. Like if he played the 3/3, we would just get blocked anyways. Our play would be no good. He could have played like Spacey Sketcher, that would have been fine, but I think this is okay.
Ours is the one true light.
Okay. Sure. I think that's good. I mean, given this, big aggro deck that we're playing, we're always glad to see our opponents just spend 2 mana to improve their card quality. So I think that's fine. Like, how bad is this if he plays a 3/3 here? Like, we have 2 choices. We can play Precious Pet, Glory Seeker, and then Glory Seeker whatever he plays. Then how does this go? We get in for 5/6. This thing blocks here. Then we have an empty board. I think I like it. I'm not a huge fan of just opening with Frenzied Skitterer in this spot, because if he plays 3/3, then it just doesn't leave us with much board. We play Skitterer. He plays 3/3. He still puts this thing here. He puts his 3/3 in front of whichever spider he chooses, and then we just have the 1 dude left over. I prefer just assuming that we're using the Glory Seeker as a removal spell. And then in the event that he just went bonkers, we just get a free hit in. That would be great as well.
Face me. Everything's in place.
No mercy for heretics.
Okay.
Remember me. Damn it.
Okay. How does this work out if he just drops Leona on us? Pretty good, I guess. pretty good. Gives us a pretty good open. Okay. I think we're in the same boat. We just want to play Glory Seeker and open for the 5 hit, take him to 6.
I am the traveler.
Sharpen the blade, secure the kill.
And
Look within.
sure, the other thing I'm thinking of here now is, what if we just hook and then stun and get in the 4 damage and not lose our unit? Like, that's an option. I don't think I like it. I'll consider it if he plays... Oh, hang on. Hang on. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, take him to 2.
I'll cut them up. You're mine.
Okay, let's see what happens. Kind of need to do it now. Like, we kind of needed to do it before we passed him back priority. We're probably just going to hit for 5 and this is going to happen. But I do like the idea of just getting this stun in here. Right, protecting our Glory Seeker for a hook in the future. Oh, friend. Oh, friend, we're definitely doing it now.
Look to the sky.
Okay, then that just leaves us open to just nuke him with the Fervor if he taps out next turn. Don't want to just like go for it. It depends on how he spends his mana, right? He can gain 2 health, which sucks. With that burst thing, or the big one being he can gain 5, which is also, slightly problematic. Good big Darius.
Daylight everlasting.
Huh. I don't like it.
They will bleed.
It's too easy for him to have that
I
have that
my
spell.
orders.
Where he just gains 2 and as a 1. Then like we aren't adding anything to the board. That feels like a disaster.
Trust your heart.
Then how wrong can this go? If he has like Elixir of Iron, it's not even that bad. But why does he attack with these and not with the Ravoon? So he could probably like trade up, but he can't win. The other thing that worries me there is if he just wanted to put damage on Darius so that he can pull off a Brittle Steel.
For glory, face me.
That's also a real concern.
Is this what you seek?
Okay. Let's spend some mana so it doesn't look like we're trying to be tricky, and then we'll just try to knock some fervor through this. Would love to see him just spend 5+ mana here.
Winter
Nice.
is the Freljord's true ruler.
There we go. Pretty sure there's no way out of this. Alrighty, nice little 7. Good game, friend.
We have done well. Noxus is proud.
Okay, okay. So yeah, nice little 7 winner with Elise. We can pull up this deck list and talk about it. This is not the home for Noxus Arena, however you would want to pronounce this. Noxkraya Arena. It's got to be Noxus Arena for me. We'll never pull that name off. If you're familiar with the stream and we try to say things like Genvivi, there's no way we're saying Noxus, not whatever the proper wording for Noxus Arena is. But yeah, I mean, this deck came together fine. This is certainly not the best Elise deck that we've ever had. You know, we're really looking to have either a big. We didn't even end up with any dogs. We're trying to get, you know, either what we look to be the. Oh, come on, Bud's back for the for the recap. You know, like I talked about at the very beginning. There's really 2 decks you're trying to put together here. You're trying to get Precious Pet plus the fearsome dog, and then Arachnoid Horror Elise into where's he at? Frenzied Skitterer. Just having this big fearsome set of units. You know, the other thing is just the spider stack, and so none of that really came together throughout the course of this run. You know, throughout all of the draft, we saw, you know, 0 Arachnoid Horrors, we saw 0 Hapless Aristocrats, we saw 0 Frenzied Skitterers. It was just like the Shadow Isles deck just didn't want to show up. I mean, it could have been a function of us taking this Precious Pet pack followed by this Iron Ballista pack. You know, we did like Noxus up right at the beginning instead of hitting Shadow Isles cards, but then we also, I mean, we didn't see any House Spiders, and so however you want to take that, like, you know, these can certainly come together much easier. But you know, if you're in Elise yourself, I think this is, you know, another pretty good primer. Darius is a great champion to pair with her, but you typically just want to slam whatever whatever Noxus champion shows up. I think the big one that would let us stray away from that is Diana. Also cool with Misfortune, but you know, you're not going to be building around Misfortune. You're going to be building around Elise. But you know, they're all reasonable pairings. You're just looking, you know, number one, you're looking for a Noxus champion. If you don't go Noxus, you're looking for a combat-oriented champion. You know, something that's going to be getting in there and being aggressive and getting in good attacks. But you know, in general, when we talk about this kind of deck, I know I mentioned it a few times, and I really like to drive the point home. It's really easy to let your top end get away from you when you're drafting Noxus, just picking up a bunch of expensive cards that don't matter. And so, you know, we called out specifically, we're going to want 3 Neverglade Collectors, we're going to want 2 to 3 Brood Awakenings, we're going to want 1 of either Decisive Maneuvers or Shunpo or Intimidating Roar. and that's it. You know, we had this Tusk Raider from the start. It's fine that he was here. You know, Crumble breaks that mold because it's a removal spell. You know, if we had a Vengeance, we would have been playing Vengeance as well. But that's it. You know, it's so super easy whenever you're drafting Noxus, especially when you get paired in with Darius, to just start adding all of these expensive dudes, and you just have a bunch of Shield Breakers and Tusk Raiders and Savage Reckoners. You know, a little bit of those is fine. A big bit of them is an actual problem. And so, you know, with yourself, whenever you're drafting these, really, really pay big attention to your curve. Take note of the fearsome units, because those are the ones that are going to help you get through the invokes. And then, you know, try to pick up 3 or 4 removal spells along the way, preferably having one of them be a kill anything type spell. But yeah, pretty good Elise run. I had a good time here. Pretty happy with the outcome. You can't be upset when you go 7 deep. We've been playing fairly sloppy here over the past few runs, and so I was glad to see one of these runs come together pretty well. I'm sure I didn't play it 100% perfect, but it wasn't a lot of just blatant misplays like we've done here recently. But nonetheless, that part's done. Let's click on these rewards real quick, and we'll call it a day. Wildcard, still everyone's favorite. You just get a bunch of wild cards in it. Those are exciting. That's the most exciting reward anyone ever gets, is just seeing all the wild cards opened up. Look at that. Four commons and 1 rare. But no, man, that's gonna do it. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the run. You learned a little something along the way. You had a good time watching. This is Free to Play Bust, and we thank you for being here.